Very good morning to all class 8 students. In our last video, we learned that Velu was panicked. Still, once he had his, a little tiffin, he was still panicked, but he realized that if Jaya left him, then he had no idea where he was and what to do next. So he also realized that it was better for him to stick to her because she seemed to know her way around the city. So what did he do? Again, he started, walking after her once she started leaving him, right? So this is where we left the second part. Now let us start the third part. This is going to be the last part of this chapter. Jaya and Velu walked along the roads for half an hour until they came to a bridge across a dirty trickle of water. We are in Triplicane now. See, that's Buckingham Canal, said Jaya. Well, a dirty trickle of water, Jaya calls it Buckingham Canal. That means this is little ironic, but it speaks of Jaya's, sense of humor. Perhaps she will call her house a Buckingham Palace, and the dirty trickle of water that flows right next to her house, she would say this is Buckingham Canal. All right. So this is, she knew, how to mimic the situation, and she did not want to say that this is my house and I live next to this dirty trickle of water, So this dirty pond of water I live next by. She did not want to say this straight away to, child like Velu. So she talks with Velu in a, humorous manner. It speaks of her sense of humor. I'm telling you this again because you have a question on the back with regards to this. Right. Now, what did he do? Velu stared. Oh, this was a canal. Near some puddles of water was a row of the strangest huts he had ever seen. Now, once Jaya introduced that dirty trickle of water as a Buckingham Canal, and then he started looking at the canal and said, oh, this is really strange. Just next to that puddle of water, there were few houses, not houses, but, sort of small huts. They were all, lying in line. They were built out of all sorts of things. What? Please underline. Metal sheets, tires, bricks, wood, and plastic. You see, it is but natural. You check the houses in the picture which is given below. It is but natural that the houses were not built with the cement and concrete, what we call for the house material we need to buy, and to construct a house. But whatever things were available or collected from rubbish, tires or those thrown out bricks and the pieces of wood and plastic, all such things were collected and people made their houses. They all stood crookedly as if, dilapidated, without any shape, and as if they will fall off any time, and looked as if they would fall any moment. Is this where you live? These houses are strange, said Velu. In our village, the houses are made of mud and palm leaves, which is at least stronger than these houses, which can fall off any time. Jaya went around to one of the huts and dumped her sack outside. Then she picked up an empty one. Let's go. You see, whatever Velu said about the houses to Jaya, Jaya was not even listening to it, paying the least heed to it. She straight away went into, her house, put the filled-in sack outside, got another bag, and she asked Velu to go with her. She turned to Velu and gave him a shove, means a push. At least help me now. Here, wear this and come with me. You see, she is giving objects, things to Velu and asking him to hurry up because they had to go do their business. She threw him a pair of old shoes without laces and pushed a sack and stick into his hands. Right, so this is an everyday job with these children. They have to go having a sack on their shoulder, having a stick. The stick is to surf around the rubbish. And in case if they find something made of plastic, they'll have to collect it, put it into the sack. This is what the job they do, right? So she is giving the same things, the pair of shoe without the laces. Of course, she must have found it from the heap of garbage somewhere, which she was preserving, perhaps for herself. But since Velu was a newcomer, she is offering, she's very generous. Though she doesn't have a lot of resources with herself, she is trying to help a runaway child like Velu. Because she not intendingly wishing him to be a rag picker, but this is what all she can do for him. Because rag picking is the only resource for her to live, to collect the bread for a day. And this is how she lives. There is no mention about Jaya's parents anywhere throughout the chapter. So let's see that she was all on her own. But she found a resource for herself to survive in such a metro city like Chennai on her own. And now she was helping Velu also to do the same thing. It shows that she is very generous at heart. She is more experienced, having a good sense of humor when she says, oh, this is a Buckingham Palace and this is a Buckingham Kennel next to my house. That also speaks of her experience, you see. Right. She threw him a pair of old shoes without laces and pushed a sack and a stick into his hands. Velu was so confused. What work did she want him to do with these things? Velu is still confused. He has run away from his house without caring much for his future. It speaks of him being silly and foolish. He is not smart like Jaya. He did not care for what he will do when he will get off the train at Chennai Central. Luckily, he finds Jaya there. Just think, if Jaya wouldn't have met with him, what he could have done so far? Nothing. He would have still starved and gotten confused, perhaps would have been caught by the police. Definitely. So, the only work he had ever done was on the landowner's farm, and that too was weeding, which is removing the unnecessary grass and the wild bushes, and taking cows out to graze. Are there any farms in the city? He asked Jaya. See, whatever work he has done so far, he can do it. Perhaps he is good at it. But here, that is not the work that Jaya is expecting him to do. Jaya is expecting him to do the same work what she does. Right? So she laughed and thumped her stick on the ground, stating, farms? There are no farmers here. We are rag pickers. You see, finally she admits. Sadly and very unfortunately, she had to admit to the fact that we are all rag pickers living in this area. There are no farmers here in this area. Neither there are any farms. Rag pickers? See my sack full of things I collected. Collected? From where? Asked Velu. Well, from rubbish bins. Where else? Oh, you collect rubbish. Velu had never heard of such a thing. That means he perhaps have seen people throwing rubbish and himself also the same. But he has never seen people collecting rubbish. So this is, another confusing and surprising thing to him. Hey, blockhead. It's not any rubbish. It is only paper. Please underline this. Plastic, glass, such things. We sell it to the Jam Bazaar Jagu. Okay, another confusing thing that is coming to Velu. He says, beware, don't call it rubbish. This is our daily bread. It is not anything that is rubbish. We are collecting the plastic mugs, the glass, plastic papers, or, bags or anything that comes from the heap of rubbish things, garbage. And what we do after collecting it? We sell it to Jam Bazar Jagu. Velu's puzzled again. He had heard of people throwing away rubbish, but why would anyone want to buy rubbish, collecting it? Who is Jam Bazar Jagu? Why is he buying all this? Oh, you think he buys it for shows? He sells it to a factory. Come on, I don't have time to waste like you. You see, she explains to Velu everything, whatever we collect and give it to Jam Bazar Jagu, he had to sell it to those recycling units, recycling factories who will recycle the plastic, the glass, or any necessary rubbish items which has been thrown and chucked by people. What all we do is we collect it, and when we sell it, Jam Bazar Jagu will pay it back to us, and then he will also earn profit by selling it to the recycle units. You see, she's asking him to hurry up. Come on. Velu did not move still. He had not run away and come to this new place to dig through garbage bins. Jaya poked at him with her stick. Oh, you see the way Jaya talks? That, hey, come on, hurry up. What are you thinking you are dreaming of? Velu thinks I have, of course, fled my house, but I didn't flee my house to dig up rubbish heaps here. Look here, she shouted. If someone gets there before us, we don't get anything. Don't just stand there posing big hero. I'm trying to help you here. Who filled your stomach today? You see, she's reminding, don't stand here. You have to earn your own livelihood. I got you food only for once. From now onwards, you have to earn your own food. You see, so in the business of rake picking, there is a competition. Whichever comes first, serves first. Comes last, served last. Right? So before anybody gets to the heaps of garbage and the rubbish bins, they had to first move, it seems. They have to reach out to the bins. Because if they reach first, they will collect more rubbish. Collecting more rubbish means more money. And more money means more bread, more comfort. Velu scratched his head and sighed. Oh my God, I will do it for now, he thought, until I find a better job. You see, and these children never are able to find a better job than to do the rake picking. And they remain a rake picker for the rest of their lives. This is very unfortunate, saddening thing. Right. So, these 3 parts are taken from Trash on Rake Picker, Children and Recycling, written by Geetha Wolf, Anushka Ravishankar and Orijit Sen. Right, the first question. What material are the strange huts made out of? The strange huts are made out of what? You had already underlined. The metal sheets, tires, bricks, pieces of wood and plastic. Why does Velu find them strange? Well, Velu is finding them strange because he has always lived in those kacha houses. You know, he lived in the mud house which were covered with palm leaves, and they always stood straight. They never stood crookedly. So the strange houses are a thing of surprise to him. What sort of things did Jaya and children like her collect, and what did they do with those things? Well, children like Jaya and, other children like her, they are, they can be addressed as rake pickers. What is the job of rake pickers? Usually they collect the unnecessary items such as plastic cups, plastic bottles, plastic bags, the pieces of glass or something which can be recycled, and they keep on collecting them all through the day, and finally at the end of the day they have to go to the those market agents who will buy it from them and repay, and pay them money in return, which they will then again sell it to the recycling factories and the units, which will pay them back. Okay, so this is how, this is a business of recycling which starts with the rag picker and ends up in the recycling factories. And this is how these children earn their daily bread. Is Velu happy or unhappy to find work? Well, this is a tough answer. It requires a bit of thinking. Velu is confused. He is neither happy nor unhappy, but from his confusion, from him behaving in a funny manner with Jaya, we can say that he was not so very happy accepting the job of a rag picker. He did not even know that he was going to be a rag picker. You see, because he thinks that have I fled my house to, surf around the heaps of garbage and rubbish, to dig it up and collect all such rubbish things which people have chucked in. So it's very difficult. I mean, he's not so very happy to find this work of, rag picking. And the only reason is he did not flee his house to rag pick. Perhaps he had come to a different place thinking that I'd go to, some other place away from my father, will save myself from his beatings and his, verbal abuse every day. And I will try to work. Perhaps he had come thinking this. But in the big city, there is only one work for children like Velu and Jaya, which he comes across little later in the chapter. Right? Okay, if you turn this page, you can see in this picture, you see Velu is being given all the stuff that a rag picker really require. Usually these children and even those other, adult rag pickers are always holding a stick in their hand, and they have a big sack, a sort of bag-like thing on their shoulder, and they are wearing, some sort of, flip-flops or slippers, worn out ones in their feet, and they will walk with the same every day and keep collecting things which they will go and sell and make their bread. Okay, now if you go back to yes, this page with the red box, page number 16, you will have a few questions to ponder over. So in this exercise, you will write all these 3 questions in your CW. Okay, apart from comprehension 1, comprehension 2 and comprehension 3. This exercise that you are seeing on the screen also has to be written in your CW. I can discuss it with you. First question says, is Velu a smart boy? Which instances in the text show that he is or he is not? Well, Velu's character doesn't speak of his bravery. You see, neither does it speak of his smartness. He is, of course, not a smart boy because he fled his house without informing anyone in the house, scared from his father's beatings and without thinking about his future. See, if he stayed at home, he perhaps had to get beatings only, but he could have saved himself from being a rag picker. You see, so this is what is the main thing here is the instance of him fleeing his house. It speaks of him being a foolish boy. Such children do not give it a second thought that what they would do in future if they run away from their house, because then they have to live on their own. There won't be anyone to help. Just think, if Jaya did not meet him, what he would have done? He would have been, caught up by the police by now. So that means it shows that he did not act smartly. Yes, if he was smart enough, he would have stayed home and would have, would have done something else to save himself from the father's beatings and him snatching all the money. Right. Do you think Jaya is a brave and a sensitive child with a sense of humor? Right. Jaya is, of course, brave because she is surviving on her own in this big metropolitan city without anyone's help. She found her way out to make her own bread every day. That speaks of her bravery, right? Now, sensitive. Yes, she is a sensible child because she is very thoughtful about children like her, children like Velu. why would she, why did she help Velu? She would have simply passed by, thinking that, oh, another small child had come like me in this city. But why would I need to help? I need to go out and, make money on my own, and I would continue my business. I don't want to get late. But she, when she passed by, when she saw Velu, she stood there. She asked who he was, and she could offer all the help at her level, whatever she could. That speaks of her being sensible, thoughtful, caring for others like her, because she knew the pain, she knew the worry, the anxiety, and the confusion these children will have. You see, so it speaks of both of her being brave, smart, and sensitive. And at many places there are references available in all through the chapter that speaks of her sense of humor. What does she say to Velu when he's standing in the middle of the traffic? You don't meddle with the traffic, otherwise you'll get run over. You will be chutney. Isn't it? That's the first reference. The second is when they reached her house, she says, oh, this is a Buckingham kennel. You see? So that speaks of her sense of humor also. That means she's taking life easy, and she knows how to go about this big city, and she knows what she was doing. And she also knew that if I don't help myself, no one will come helping me. So everything, she acts like an adult, and as if she was definitely more experienced than Velu, right? So yes, there are so many references available for her being brave, smart, sensitive, and a thoughtful child. Question 3 is an open question, and you have to think over it, and you write this answer in your own words. What one throws away as waste may be valuable to others. Do you find this sentence meaningful in the context of this story? Of course, those people who chuck those, plastic bottles after drinking water, plastic cups, plastic mugs, glasses, perhaps all such items are not required once they are used by people, and they chuck it here and there everywhere, you see. But they become the mean of earning livelihood to those who don't have it. So something, sometimes when you think of giving something to someone, perhaps the toys, those soft toys, those clothes that are lying here and there, old clothes, old stuff, old stationaries, old bags, anything that is lying in your house and which you think you don't require, could be new to those who need it. It is old in your house, lying as a dust catcher because you don't need it. The moment you chuck it away, it becomes new to someone else because they need it. So the only difference is of the need. Right? This side, no need. The other side, there is need. So this side, it's old. The other side, when it crosses, it becomes new. Right? So these children who actually are in need of resources. You see, if you read this just a little below, the best investment that country can make is to put milk into its children. Milk here refers to the resources which are required with these children. They should be provided. We're not saying that they have to be given money, they have to be given this, that, but they have to be given an opportunity, a resource from where their development can start. That at least every one of us can do at our own level, at an individual level. Otherwise, this evil named child labor will always remain here in the society. You see, it will be very difficult. So, this story gives us a picture of children who are bound to work to support their living and sometimes their families also. You see, they cannot go to school. They cannot play like other children, like you all, of their age. They can't make friends with their, children like of their own age. The story draws our attention towards the evil of child labor. Children are being put to work. You see, they always have to worry what they have to eat the next day. Children, in the morning, you pick up your bag because you have to go to school. They also pick up their bag, but not to go to school. They go to work and they lose upon their childhood. Somebody rightly said, one should not snatch away the childhood of a child. It is the best time that they can ever live. So we are completing this chapter. During tomorrow's live session, I shall be giving you one value-based question which you have to write along with all these questions in your CW. I repeat, comprehension 1, 2, 3 and these 3 questions that you see in the red box will go in your CW, and one more VBQ that I will give you tomorrow. Okay, so I want you all to keep learning. Think about what you have learned in this chapter and how we all can just pitch into the effort and help them all. Okay, we shall be cross questioning in tomorrow's question. Till then, you all keep learning. Thank you very much.